Once upon a chilling autumn evening, in the remote village of Hollow Creek, nestled deep within a thick, looming forest, a sinister presence had long been whispered of by the locals. They spoke of eerie happenings, of a house at the edge of the woods that nobody dared enter. The house, known as the Withered Manor, had been abandoned for decades. Its windows, like the hollow eyes of a spectre, stared blankly into the darkness. A twisted, gnarled tree stood before the entrance, casting an unsettling shadow. It was said that anyone who ventured near would feel an icy grip on their soul. As the village's youth gathered around a bonfire that evening, sharing tales of the cursed house, Sarah, a curious teenager with a daring spirit, spoke up. "I'll go to Withered Manor tonight. I don't believe in ghosts." Her friends tried to dissuade her, but Sarah was resolute. With a flashlight in hand, she made her way through the forest, guided by the glow of the full moon. The leaves rustled like whispers in the wind, and the darkness seemed to cling to her. When she reached the Withered Manor, an eerie silence engulfed her. She pushed open the creaking door, revealing a dimly lit, decrepit interior. The air was thick with dust, and the floorboards groaned beneath her weight. As she explored the house, her flashlight's beam revealed shattered furniture and decaying wallpaper. But then she heard it, a faint, mournful cry that sent shivers down her spine. It was the voice of a child, calling for help. Sarah followed the sound through the winding corridors, eventually reaching a small, forgotten nursery. In the dim light, she saw a rocking chair moving on its own. The room was filled with an overwhelming, icy presence. The voice became louder and more desperate. Sarah searched desperately, her heart pounding, but there was no child to be found. Suddenly, a ghostly figure emerged from the shadows. The child was a spectral apparition, pale and ethereal. Its eyes were empty voids. The ghostly child's voice grew louder and more sinister as it whispered, "You shouldn't have come here." Panicking, Sarah turned to flee, but the door slammed shut, trapping her inside. The room grew frigid, and her breath formed mist in the air. The child's ghostly form began to twist and contort, its features distorting into something monstrous. Sarah's flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows. The walls of the nursery bled with darkness, as if the very house was absorbing her fear. She knew she had to escape, but the malevolent force held her in its icy grip. Just as all hope seemed lost, the door burst open and her friends rushed in, their own flashlights illuminating the room. The apparition shrieked and dissipated into the shadows. They pulled Sarah to safety, and the moment they crossed the threshold of Withered Manor, the house seemed to sigh with relief. It stood there in silence, waiting for its next victim. To this day, the villagers of Hollow Creek tell the tale of Sarah's harrowing night at Withered Manor, a chilling reminder that some hauntings are better left undisturbed.